Spending conservatively during the Christmas season is one of the sure ways of enjoying a happy new year relatively debt-free. Your Wealth is next.
Your Wealth is brought to you by
Advantage General, the name you should know. We're not in the car business, but if you drive, you ought to know our name. We're not in the construction business, but if you own a home, you ought to know about us. We're definitely not in the medical field, but if you've been in an accident, you'll be glad that we're on your team. We are Jamaica's leading motor, home and contents insurer. Advantage General, the name you should know.
Phoebe, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
Some parents, some individuals are more cash rich than others. What do you say to the cash rich individual? And I'm going to ask you the question, same thing about those who don't have so much cash, the PAYE types and so on.
Okay, if you're cash rich, then you still need to think, how can I also benefit? For example, I'm back to credit cards. You may have several credit cards because you can afford to have credit cards. But do you need 6 different credit cards, paying 6 different annual fees? You might be using a card that doesn't have any benefits to it, any rewards on the cards. Some people don't even think about those things. So if you're going to be spending, why not get back something? Why not get travel points? Why not get Magna reward points? Why not get back a rebate at the end of the year? Think about these things when you are spending. What can I also get back? So there are different ways that, you're spending, but you're also benefiting.
What advice would you give to the PAY types, those persons who depend on a monthly or weekly or fortnightly paycheck? How do they handle it at this time? The Christmas period is a time for loving and sharing and giving, but it's also a time of stress for many persons. For many persons, a very stressful period. What do you say to that, the PAYE types who perhaps at this time want to do a lot of things except being realistic?
Well, the first thing they have to remind themselves is, what are my bills come January? If you have school fees, then you can't spend off the school fee money trying to just have a great time at Christmas. But in other words, you don't have to, especially for children, you don't have to give them expensive gifts. Not necessarily expensive gifts. We can find other ways in terms of having fun together, having family time. If you're having persons over for dinner, you can invite them to contribute, to bring things. And it was also a whole lot more fun because they're bringing things that you didn't think of, or you don't have to, the expense of doing all of that yourself. So it's just a matter of including, because Christmas is really a time for family, for friends. But I think sometimes we have commercialized it so much that we just think of it as just a time to spend. So it's going back to the old time Christmas.
Family.
And you budget also for your gifts.
Yeah. And you made the point about back to school. At this point, that should be, for those who have children, it should be a priority to budget for that.
You budget for it and you take it out first. So you take out the things that you have to, the expenses that you have to meet in your budget, and then the extra you say, I can spend on this. So maybe you might not save as much as you wanted to for December, because maybe that time you might, put down a little bit less. But at the same time, something that's a good thing to do is start a pre-authorized contribution. So if you have your salary going to the account every month, you're on a set salary. Every month you save a little bit. It automatically comes out of your account and goes to another account, and that's your savings account. So even at Christmas, you wouldn't be touching the savings account. You would still be trying to do it out of your regular account.
Scotiabank's Phoebe Buchanan there with some time-honored spending tips for the holiday period. Earlier this year, Grace Kennedy's executive chairman Douglas Orane gave a lecture in New York in which he highlighted several binding constraints to Jamaica's prosperity as well as the solutions. Mr. Orane attributed failure in Jamaica to three major binding constraints: our love affair with political populism, the deficiency in Jamaica's human capital development, and an exceedingly high crime rate. Orane says education is one of the keys to unlocking true growth in Jamaica and has a major prescription for getting rid of the deficiency in human capital.
Education is the second largest expenditure on our government's budget after debt servicing. We need to make sure that we are getting value for money from the more than 70 billion Jamaican dollars of taxpayers' money spent annually on education. Earlier this year, I learned of the work of a Nobel Prize winner named James Heckman, who has demonstrated that a $1 investment in early childhood education results in a return to society of $17 in later years. When I heard the statement, I said to myself, whoa, I need to find out how this really works. The reason why that $17 return is so high is firstly because the children benefiting from that investment will earn relatively more over their lifetimes than children who have not benefited from this investment. But the vast majority of the return, about 75% of the $17, is to the entire nation through a whole range of social benefits: a more productive workforce, less violent trauma injuries, lower crime rates, smaller prison populations, and substantial savings for taxpayers as a result. Early childhood education not only creates a better educated young person, but has a spin-off of them having better coping skills, mastery of language, better family dynamics, reduced antisocial behavior among young people on reaching adulthood, and a host of other benefits.
Next week in our final Your Wealth program for the year, we examine Mr. Orane's prescription for political populism as well as the scourge of crime.
Your Wealth is brought to you by